I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
And here we go. It's another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. It's a Thursday edition. We welcome you in. Sorry and apologies about yesterday's show there on Wednesday under the weather. We're going to pull through it today. We're going to push through on a Thursday edition, and we'll try to get through it. But sorry that we weren't here on a Wednesday show. You didn't miss much. And what are we going to talk about? More depressing Mariner news? Probably. Because maybe I was just hungover from the Mariners. I think that's probably what it was. It was just all of that, the energy and everything made me sick. But we welcome you in. As always, we broadcast from the Limback Lumber Studios. The contractors, they're going to offer you free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects. They're going to take care of you because that's what they do at Limback Lumber. They also got the largest stock moldings in the Northwest. They got old school service. They've been doing it since 1930. In fact, they're doing some work here this week on the house inside, fixing our stock moldings. Give Limback Lumber a call, 206-782-3487. Tell them you heard it here on the Daily Puck Drop and Puck Sports. They're going to take care of you. And you can visit them at limbacklumber.com. You can also follow me on all the social media platforms. Puck Sports everywhere except for on TikTok. It's Puck_sports there. And then you can also go to pucksports.com. You can sign up to become a member of the Pucks Posse there at pucksports.com. Also, all of our video and audio shows are up there as well. And easy links to YouTube and Apple and Spotify and all that kind of stuff. All right, coming up on the show today, we'll do a next step for the Mariners here briefly. We'll talk about the M's. Mike Garafolo is going to join us on the phone today. And so we'll get the very latest in all things NFL with our guy Mike Garafolo coming up here shortly. Old Crimson Light, a new episode of the Old Crimson podcast is out. We'll give you about 15 minutes of it as we recap the Virginia loss, which was, I've been a part of a lot of losses. Watching Cougar football, that one is right up there, losing on a fair catch signal, then a safety. So we'll talk to the boys about their reaction to that Virginia loss and getting set here to take on a very tough Toledo team. Hopefully Cougar fans realize the football team in Toledo that it's coming into Martin Stadium this weekend. So we'll touch on that one. We haven't talked to them since the Mariners were eliminated, obviously, because it's Thursday, and it's another edition of KJ Arntz with myself and Mitch Levy. Just a reminder, we air the full show during the live Daily Puck Drop, but once the show is over, only place that you can listen to it and catch it is if you sign up to become a Pucks Posse member there on the Patreon page. And again, it's just $5 a month is all it costs. You support everything that we do here on the Daily Puck Drop, and then all the bonus shows we give you every single week. In addition, you can get it there. So we'll give you a little sprinkle of it coming up in the podcast that's available to everyone later. But to listen to the full show, to watch the full show, the only place to do it is if you become a Pucks Posse member. Now, if you're a Mitch Unfiltered member, a patron there, you can watch and listen to it, or you can listen to it there on his platform. All right, we're going to get to Mike Garafolo here in a few minutes. We'll just talk about quickly the Mariners hangover, and I'm sure it's been a hangover for many of you. It's a tough one, as we detailed then when we did the show on Tuesday. A real gut punch. I think it's taken people several days to kind of get over what happened there Monday night in Toronto. And then I think you have different feelings of whether it was a great season, good season, successful season, not successful season. I think whatever you come up with is whatever you come up with. I think it was a very, very good season. I would hesitate to call it a great season. I think a great season is winning the pennant and getting to the World Series. I'm not going to say it's a failure like Cal Raleigh did, but I understand Cal Raleigh's emotions the moments after that game ended. It was a very good season. I would stop great of saying it was a great season. And then I think right now is what are the next steps I think for the Mariners to take. I mean, it's clear and it's obvious, I think, to everyone that watched this baseball team this year, the number one step and the clear thing that they need to do from a personnel standpoint is re-sign Josh Naylor. And I know many scoffed at the price tag early on when we talked about what his value was, around 5 years, $100 million. That is what I believe it's going to cost. I just think it's going to be around that. You can't just simply go, well, he likes it here, so he's going to take some type of discounts. First time he's ever been a free agent in his life. You're going to have to overpay because you have to overpay for every free agent. I do think that he does like it here. He's made no bones about it, how much he likes playing with this group of guys, how much he likes playing at T-Mobile. Very few players ever say that. Hitters, he does. But they cannot let him walk out. Suarez, they can stomach that. Polanco, which is amazing now as we sit here a year later, I would say no. I don't want to stomach losing Polanco. Polanco's been very, very good. But in a weird way, could you stomach losing Polanco in favor of Naylor? I mean, I could. I think a lot of people could. I think you can obviously have both. And I think they need to do everything in their power to try and get both. I mean, you can still, look ahead what you want to do for 2026, and you can still have your everyday second baseman in Cole Young, or hey, Polanco then can transition to be your everyday DH at third base. I have no idea what they're going to do over there. Is Ben Williamson going to be ready to play third base? There's been this talk of Colt Emerson taking grounders at third base. Could he be your third baseman? Okay. I don't know. It's a lot to ask for a 20-year-old. But what I do know is that guy that plays first base needs to be playing first base next year. That is the number one absolute priority of this baseball team. And then I think when you look at it further than Josh Naylor is, how do we get this ball club deeper? How do we have more options off of our bench so that when we get to a pivotal game 7, and it's no disrespect to Leo Rivas, but that we don't depend on a Leo Rivas, or even to a lesser degree, and he had a great regular season, so I don't want to discount what Dom Canzone did, but that you're not relying on those guys at the end of a game, but you can turn and look to your bench and what do we have there? What do we have that's not Mitch Garver, Harry Ford, Miles Mastrobuoni, guys like that? They need to get deeper, and it's not just the guys 1 through 9; it's deeper guys there on the bench. That has got to improve for this baseball team as they head into next season. All right, we'll get more on the Mariners. We got a whole offseason talk about the Mariners. And he joins us every single Thursday to talk all things NFL. Mike Garafolo this week, though, is going to be on the phone with us. But before we talk to Mike, we're going to get a word from some of our sponsors: Georgetown Brewery, John Howie Steak, and Flat Stick Pub.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic-style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
Excellence in dining? Visit John Howie Steak, an experienced premier Northwest dining. Prime custom aged steaks, award-winning wine, unmatched level of service. You won't be disappointed. Make your next reservation today at johnhowiesteak.com. If it's fun you desire, it's fun you're going to get at Flat Stick Pub. It doesn't matter what the occasion is, whether it's date night, guys night, ladies night, or large group event, Flat Stick Pub's got you covered. They have 6 great locations across the Pacific Northwest, from Pioneer Square to Kirkland, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. All locations offer the best pub experience in Washington. 2 rules at Flat Stick Pub: drink local and have fun. Pretty simple. So if you like to have fun, love local beer, and great tasting food, make Flat Stick Pub your next spot. Visit them at flatstickpub.com. Well, I muted myself. Mike Garafolo joins us every single Thursday to talk all things football. It's all brought to you by the one and only. There's 2 great sponsors, by the way. We've got Zogs on Fox Island. It's a perfect spot to grab a cold beer and watch the game. Also, Hartley and Hartley Insurance that brings you Mike Garafolo every single week. In addition to Zogs on Fox Island, your trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area since 1978. Honesty, fairness, integrity. Contact Jamie Hartley, 253-565-8700. Mike is on the phone with us this week. He's got duties that required him just to be on the phone. We've got a beautiful picture of you on the YouTube stream. You look as handsome as you've ever looked.
Means that picture back when I had which from 19, so it had to be before that.
Why is your voice so weird right now? Did you hit something? Did I hit something on this to make your voice sound so weird?
I'm on the earbuds. What does it sound like? Michael?
I don't know. It is the oddest sound. It sounds so weird. And I don't know. And I'm wondering now, did I do something on my end to make you sound so weird? How does it now?
I mean, this used to sound fine to myself here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Like,
I don't know what I have done to you. It certainly does not sound like the normal Mike Garafolo that I know.
All right, why don't we do this? Send me the screen. I'll just on video. Is that easier? Better?
We can try that. Let's try it here. I'll hang up with you. I'll send you the link, and we'll try to do the video audio. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with that. That was weird. Mike gets. You know what? When you're sick and you feel like shit, this is the type of stuff that happens, especially when you do this live, and you wonder to yourself, "What the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this live? We don't have to do it live." We'll send Mike a link. Maybe we can get him on there and figure out what the hell is going on. But that was weird. That was like the oddest thing in the world. Let's say he's connected. Hey, Mike, are you with us now? How's the sound now?
It was fine. I don't know. You sounded fine to me. How do I sound now?
You sound great. It was something on the phone. I have no idea why you sounded the way that you did, but now we don't have the fabulous picture up here. I don't know if I can add the picture. Oh, I can. I got the picture up there now, but all right, let's start this over. Old school. 3, 2, 1. All right, Mike Garafolo is with us from the NFL Network, and he joins us as he always does every single week. All right, Mike, let's get into some NFL storylines. I want to get right into the trade talks. I saw the report. Maxx Crosby. What's the latest with Maxx Crosby as we're getting closer to November 4th trade deadline?
That Cowboys report made 0 sense. Let's go through this, okay? Cowboys trade Micah Parsons, get a bunch of picks back, save a bunch of money, right? They're now going to go spend all that on a pass rusher who is later in his career, doesn't have the familiarity with the team in the middle of the season where they're not really – I mean – they may make the playoffs, right? I'm not, but like, is anybody looking at them as a possible Super Bowl contender? Right. Made 0 sense. Yes, the Raiders have made it clear that they are not trading Maxx Crosby. They certainly made the deal for him this offseason, or the contract extension for him, with the idea that he would be a cornerstone piece for this new regime and be kept around. So I don't listen. If, at this point next year, if they're still struggling to find some wins, we could have this conversation. I do not foresee any scenario in which we're going to have that conversation this season over the next week plus.
Well, we've talked about him before. What about Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson? Is there any movement on that one?
Not as of last check. It seems like the Bengals are keeping hope alive that Joe Flacco is going to get them into the postseason. The only way that was going to happen is if they lost that game to the Steelers and continue to spiral downward, and you go, okay, Flacco trade's not going to get it done. But that trade was made to keep this team in contention, in large part because Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, with the contract that they signed this offseason and as competitive as they are, wanted this team to do what they can to remain competitive, and they did. So they were certainly letting their voice be heard inside the building because Jake Browning was just not what they expected. Mm-hmm. So to then turn around and trade. Why am I getting blown up? Is something happening here? Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of...
Well, hey, something big happening in the NFL. You could break some news right here.
4... Hold on. I'm sorry. It was just 4 unrelated... Unless I was just out of a... That just scared the heck out of me. It was 4 different people texting me all at once, which usually means something just happened with you.
Yeah.
And they're all unrelated texts. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Trey Hendrickson... because you're in the car, you just see them popping up on the screen. It's like, okay, this person, then this person, then this person. What the
you get worried. I understand.
Yeah, no. So the Bengals are in contention, and listen, they don't even have to. It's not like, oh, Flacco's got to get them to the playoffs. Flacco's got to get them in playoff contention by week 16 or so, when Burrow can come back. So as of right now, I don't see him being moved either.
You know, it's funny I was thinking about Joe Flacco after his performance this past weekend. Is there ever a special Hall of Fame that they can put players in just for longevity? Because if there is, he would be like the first ballot guy for that.
Just the Hall of Fame in your hearts, I guess.
Man.
So he'll have to, whatever jacket you give him, I guess a red jacket in your heart.
Yeah.
It's Prime Video last week did a fantastic job showing it on the pregame show. And it actually lived on social somewhere, maybe on their account. Ryan Fitzpatrick gives the same play with two different play calls in two different systems. And it's like he spoke French and then he spoke Spanish. Not even. Like French and Spanish are close. It's like French and Chinese. Okay, that's the way it was. And you got to learn that within the course of a week. Yeah. It is really incredible. From a schematic standpoint, there's nothing new for Joe Flacco. As I explained this when they made the trade. I was talking to the Browns in the summer, like he's seen everything. There's nothing new for him. That being said, to be able to spit it out and communicate it during the course of a game, I mean, I can't believe how things get done in 40 seconds when you know what's going on with the playbook. To now add in all the terminology and complexity and all that stuff is unbelievable.
He's just a special quarterback. I mean, he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, this guy's won a Super Bowl. And no matter where he's gone, he's always been good. I mean, like almost better than good. And I don't know. And then I loved I think this was this week, his press conference, and I know you've seen it. He's asked about, how hard is it to be away from your family? And he's like, well, yeah, it is difficult. And you would like to be home with your kids sitting at dinner. But then he paused, he goes, but I would go out to dinner sometimes and I would see these guys at the bar or at dinner eating by themselves. And I would think, man, that's gotta be miserable. But then when I've done it now and I had to do it because I've been moving around and going out to dinner by myself. And yes, I wish my family was there. It's actually now I remember, I think back to those guys and they must be in heaven. I thought it was a great line, Mike, because I think there's every dad, especially parent, can relate to what he said of just like having a dinner to himself and no one's there talking.
Can you hear what's happening behind me right now?
Well, and this is why when you get to wherever you're going, you're going to want just a special time by yourself with silence.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Do you listen? Did I see the quote and hear the quote? We ran segments on it last night and today. Yeah. And we did. We talked about it on Good Morning Football. I actually threw up a bunch of pictures of my daughters in the middle of me. I told them. Yes, I told you. I told them. All right. It's like I flashed the bat signal in the sky, which is funny now because them talking just before that was apparently them being quiet. Because as soon as they thought that they were open to talk, it really ratcheted up. It's listen, for those of you inside the city limits of Cincinnati watching and listening right now, and I know there are plenty of you, when you see Joe Flacco out, you're going to have the temptation to go up and ask for a picture or an autograph or whatnot. Leave that man alone.
Yes.
That man is doing just fine. I saw it's sort of unrelated, but I saw because I'm married to my wife is Cuban. I saw something that said, if you see me getting yelled at by a Latina in public, leave me alone. I'm right where I need to be, or something like that. It's like if you have send this to all your friends who have Latina girlfriends and wives. It said, it's kind of like Joe Flacco. Leave that man alone. He is exactly where he needs to be right now.
And I loved it because I loved it. One of your partners on Good Morning Football, Kyle Brand, it said after seeing that video, and he had wrote on X that, hey, I do this once a year. Now where he goes out to dinner by himself once a year. And I'm thinking, I need to start that tradition for myself, Mike.
Yeah. I meant to follow up with him. Like, is it a scheduled thing that he's just allowed to do and he does by himself? Because
sounds like it.
He's flying to Tampa tomorrow to do an interview with Baker Mayfield, and he does travel for work, from time to time. It's like that's when you get those in. I'm surprised he's allowed to have an extra one on top of that,
Yeah. Speaking of drama in the National Football League, this Sean Payton, Russell Wilson splat. Hey, you know what? I was glad for Russell Wilson. A lot of other people saying the same thing, that he finally, for the first time, it felt like kind of like shot back at somebody and got out of Russell Wilson character.
Yeah, it was. Payton now, and Payton said that he didn't. He walked it back. I'm not sure I agree with that because I watched that clip, and there's a moment where he pauses, and you can almost see the wheels turning. Mm-hmm. Payton has now his biggest swipes over the last 2+ years, whatever it is. One at Nathaniel Hackett, nicest guy in the world. The other one at Russell Wilson, who you think would never fire back at anything publicly. So you got to kind of sit there and go, hey, for me to get Russell Wilson to fire back at me publicly, which it was 48 hours later or whatever it was, and certainly ran through a couple of sets of eyes before it made its way publicly. You got to kind of sit there and go, boy, that's as I related it. I said it's like the scene in Billy Madison where he's firing the dodgeball at the little kids' heads. That's sort of what it feels like right now for Sean Payton.
Yeah, it's an odd thing. It's just he has become an easy target for a lot of people to take swipes at. That being Russell Wilson. Could you see him being moved before the deadline? If so, where do you think he could land, or do you think he's just going to stay and be in a good spot in New York?
No, I mean there's no real immediate interest, especially from the Bengals, who called a few teams to check in on quarterbacks, and didn't. I don't even think they called the Giants, period, on either one of those guys that they had there. So, if there was an interest then, I don't see. The teams that need it. J.J. McCarthy's coming back in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Jaden Daniels is not going to be out very long, about a week or two. Plus, they've got Marcus Mariota there. The quarterbacks that are banged up are either teams going to wind up being out of contention, or they feel comfortable with the guy they've already got. So unless something happens on the field in the next week or two, I guess you got 2 weeks before the trade deadline. I just don't see that happening.
How about this NFC West, man? This is going to go right down the wire with the Seahawks, 49ers, and the Rams. Seahawks, they're coming off that Monday night victory against Houston, which is a good win. It was especially a good win to see what they were able to do, I think, offensively at times against a very good Texans defense. And then I think the aftermath of that is a lot of people, pundits coming out saying, hey, man, you need to take a serious look at Seattle as a Super Bowl contender. I mean, where do they kind of stand in the hierarchy right now of the NFC, in your opinion?
I feel bad for the Cardinals, by the way. I mean, they're how close are they to having the best record out of anybody? It's just they keep losing these close games, and they've lost Kyler Murray for a couple of weeks, which actually I think Jacoby's been pretty good for them. That's another situation where a team feels comfortable with its backup quarterback. We had a woman call in the Good Morning Football because they do a call-in segment on Tuesday, saying we don't talk about the Seahawks enough, and she's probably right. And they felt that way for even when the team was really good in the peak of the Pete Carroll eras. I know Pete Carroll era. I know a lot of folks in that building were like, guys don't talk about us, and like Doug Baldwin should be a star across the league, and he's not. So yeah, I mean, I think it's in a lot of ways still developing their identity. I mean, JSN has been fantastic. I still can't believe he actually went as late as he did in that draft. I mean, to me, it was that Rose Bowl enough. Just that one game alone, I'm like, this guy's a top 10 NFL talent. It's pretty clear, and I think he's proving that. It's going to continue to prove that. He's been exceptional. And if you just talked about the Vikings, if you're the Vikings and you're looking at Sam Darnold right now and what he's doing, you're kind of like, man, and I understand it. You commit to the draft pick and you got a long-term plan, but sometimes you just gotta blow it up. I mean, the Eagles at some point blew it up with Carson Wentz, and I think some of that was Carson doing with him pushing for it and moving on to Jalen Hurts. At some point, you just got to go, and it may be over the rest of the season for them. I don't know how J.J. McCarthy's going to come back from this injury and come back from really not playing well early in the year. You may have to make a tough decision there in Minnesota. So, but listen, their loss, your gain. Seahawks are doing well, and I know the confidence is only building week in and week out there.
Yeah, and I think that's what is encouraging, I think, to a lot of people out here is the fact that they haven't played like a clean football game yet, where they haven't put it all together on the field. Because even last week, they just, defensively they were playing well. Offensively, they did some things, but then weren't able to kind of finish. And they had too many turnovers. They've had that. They've had a lot of those games this year where I guess they, as the coaches would say, all the three phases didn't come together. So We'll see if they eventually do, but it's going to go down to the wire. I mean, the job that Kyle Shanahan has done with the 49ers, I know that we have to hate the 49ers up here and Kyle Shanahan and all that, but the job he's done with the injuries that have faced that team to still have them at 5-2, it's one of the best coaching jobs going on in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're at that point of the season where we start to talk about coach of the year, and listen, the coach of the year, sometimes a tough one because guys can do a great job. Like Andy Reid has won it once in his entire career, but that's because the expectations are high. You need stuff like this. You need stuff like adversity and injury and stuff that you're battling your way through. What is in my back? What are you doing? Where did this even come from?
Wherever you get to your destination, I think this is time for you to go have, maybe a
no. I've got them. I'm gonna have them solo for the next, and I've got 2 shows, which is where you usually ask me on Thursday. So I'll tell you right now, we got Insiders will be streaming on. I don't know if streaming is the right word, but on Fast TV.
Okay.
It's 3 p.m. your time, and then I'll be on NFL Game Day Kickoff on NFL Network previewing. Well, not previewing tonight's game. We'll have league-wide news hits that we're doing at 3 o'clock your time as well on NFL Network. So. I've got those coming up here tonight. Still got to do some work. I guess the kids are going to be, I don't know, faces in tablets or in front of the TV. I got to do something. The baby neglectors. My wife won't be there till later. So
yeah, the baby neglectors. Hey, last thing for you. Speaking of the Insiders, watching it yesterday, and you guys had a story on how Roger Goodell and the league wants to use artificial intelligence to help officials. How would AI help officials moving forward? Did they give examples of what they would be using?
Well, yeah, and I had talked about it with folks at the meeting. It's still not going to help with holding and passing it. It's like nothing is going to help or change. Maybe not till you and I are dead and in the ground with subjectivity when it comes to those calls.
Right.
Because I mean, listen, you get for all the bots and AI and all that stuff. They brought in replay 2 years ago, and that didn't work. Like bring it up to Rich McKay, who is the head of the competition committee. Mention pass interference replay and watch his blood pressure. You can literally see it in his face rise. That's just may never change. I mean, so what they're doing is they're using it as a tool to kind of help with the training and the reviewing aspect. We were in the Art McNally AMGC, Art McNally Game Day Central. That's the name of the room where they have all the replay stations where it's like replay command, where Mark Butterworth, who oversees replay, and Perry Fuel oversees officiating. That's the command center on Sunday. They do not let people in there on Sundays, but they did let us in there to see what the room is like and to talk to Butterworth. And you could see each station had the game open, the replays open, all the different monitors, all the different angles that they've got, and the play-by-play on the side. And it had the notes in there about like, hey, on this play, something could have been called. Like they're doing that live as well on Sundays to kind of go back and review these things. So I do know that there is. What's the guy, the football player skier, Jeremy Bloom, is that his name?
Yeah.
He has a company that supposedly now is developing this AI software to help to try to officiate games with the AI. Again, it's more of a review tool. It's not like you hear that and you think like, oh, live AI will be officiating games. I don't think we're anywhere close to that. I don't think we'll ever get there. But as a teaching, reviewing, learning tool, apparently this is going to be part of it.
Okay. Godspeed the rest of the way on the trip, and then when you get there, try to have a moment of silence for yourself. Give my best to the girls.
Girls, Puck says, "What's up?" What?
They're like, "Who? Leave us alone. Tell that old man to shut up."
You talk about officiating. Vivian hit her. What?
15 yards.
Okay, Vivian hit her with a jacket that has a zipper on it, and so now Carmen said, "Now you can't open my birthday gift with me."
Yeah.
I actually think that's pretty fair. After further review, the call on the field stands. You're good.
You're the best. Thanks, Mike.
All right, pal.
There he is, Mike Garafolo with us from the NFL Network on the phone. His weekly appearance brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance, your trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area since 1978. Honesty, fairness, integrity. Contact Jamie Hartley at 253-565-8700. Also, Zogs on Fox Island. Perfect spot to grab a cold beer, hang out with friends, catch the game. Check out Zogs on Facebook and Instagram for hours and event times. And I don't know what the hell was with the witness protection audio to start. That was so odd. All right. A reminder, KJ Arts Live coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. And again, we sit down with Mitch Levy from Mitch Unfiltered podcast fame. And again, the entire KJ Arts Live happens during the Daily Puck Drop live show. Once it's over, you can only listen to it, watch it on podcast platforms. So just go sign up to become a Pucks Posse member at pucksports.com, or if you are a Mitch Unfiltered member. All right. Going to give you a little sneak peek, I should say, of Old Crimson Light this week with myself, former All-American safety Paul Sorensen, and the go-to guy, Jim Moore. We discussed the Virginia loss, how heartbreaking that was, and other details there from the Cougars last week against Virginia. They got Toledo this week. There's been some concerns about the play calling in the second half. We cover it all on this week's Old Crimson, brought to you by Flat Stick Pub. If it's fun you desire, it's fun you're going to get at Flat Stick Pub. It doesn't matter what the occasion is, whether it's date night, guys night, ladies night, or large group event, Flat Stick Pub's got you covered. They have 6 great locations across the Pacific Northwest, from Pioneer Square to Kirkland, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. All locations offer the best pub experience in Washington. 2 rules at Flat Stick Pub: drink local and have fun. Pretty simple. So if you like to have fun, love local beer, and great tasting food, make Flat Stick Pub your next spot. Visit them at flatstickpub.com. Your thoughts on the loss that was a new one against Virginia?
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, man. And the last time I saw a team that actually lost by a safety was, I think, 1979. Rick Jervis, who was playing for Stanford, he ended up being a long-time 49er, took a kick out of the end zone, then decided to retreat back into the end zone, ended up getting a safety, and the Battling Beavs ended up winning that game, I think 32-30 or some damn thing like that. I have never seen a team other than that game lose a game on a safety. And it was funny because we had a meeting, so I talked to John Love with regards to that fair catch, what the ruling was on it. Because I always thought if somebody put their hand up, you got a fair catch, you're going to get the ball out on the 25. But the rule is the person that fair catches it has to catch the football. The other guy, he was basically, the rumor was that he was telling him to let the ball go in the end zone, not to catch the damn ball, and then you're going to get the ball out on the 25. So by raising his hand, then that basically says that you have to take the ball at the spot. Then you have 2 straight penalties. You have the ball on the half-yard line, and then the lovely run game came out, and we got stuffed and lost a game that we should have won, and that was very, very disappointing. So another interesting way for Washington State to lose a game where they outplayed a football team that they should have beat, and it was tough. I was not happy. that was a tough one.
And go-to guy, I mean, there's been ways they've lost games. That took the cake.
No, I know. So let's see, watching Cougar football since the fall of 1974, and that was a first. I mean, we've seen us lose every way imaginable, but I guess we forgot. Hey, in 2025 we're going to lose on a safety. That was bizarre. And, it's one thing for us to not know that rule with the fair catch and everything, but I would like to think that maybe the players and the coaching staff would. But, oh, well, we covered. What the hell? I didn't really expect us to do that well in this game with the crisscrossing the country twice. I just thought it was an amazing effort, and it's too bad we didn't come out of there with a W, of course. But, boy, what a great effort. And now we come back and play Toledo on Parents' Weekend, and we're all set up to go to a bowl game, which would be a successful first year for Jimmy Rogers and his crew for sure.
I know it was. Hey, I'm proud of how they played too, but this one's different than the Ole Miss game to me. They were a better football team than Virginia, and they should have beat Virginia. They were better. I mean, they were literally better all game long. And to me, this comes down to just execution and being prepared. Like, I still have not seen or read, maybe you guys have, Paul, an explanation of what Kirby Voorhees was thinking. Has anyone seen anything? As Jimmy Rogers talked, because I'm concerned, did they coach that? Was that a coaching thing to do that?
My understanding from what has come out from people that I've heard from, basically he was yelling across the field not to catch the ball, and the arm went up. He was not fair catching the ball. He was yelling, hey, don't take the ball. You communicate. I've returned kicks, and you communicate with your guy. It was loud. It was louder in Virginia than it was in Ole Miss. It was hard to hear. And this is Virginia's best team in 30 years in terms of football. They were loud in that stadium. They were louder than they were in Ole Miss. So kudos to Virginia fans, for making it tough. So I think there's a communication issue there. They were coached on the fair catch. And honestly, I've been around football a long time. I had to get a clarification on the rule as well. I thought if anybody put their hand up that was an automatic fair catch, and basically the rule came out to the 25. So I've been doing this a long, long time, and I had to get clarification as well. And I sat next to a Pac-12 umpire on a Sunday meeting, from that perspective, and I had to get it cleared up. So that's what I had heard, Puck, and so I'm going to cut some slack to the kid on that thing. He probably feels bad enough about the deal, in terms of what's going on, but that's brutal to have it end that way, because that was just a tough way to lose.
Well, anytime if they teach not to do something, the universal signal is not to raise your hand in the air. It's to raise your horizontally across. That's the universal sign, not raising your hand in the air to do something.
I would agree with that. I would think of Willie Mays Hayes. Think of Willie Mays Hayes in Major League when he's leaving and he has the little white tissue out there. Maybe he could run by that and just say, yoo-hoo, don't catch the ball. Let it go in the end zone. Don't touch it, and we'll get it at the 25. How about that?
Okay. All right. We'll get it. We'll get to Toledo in just a second. But, hey, Jim, we go back to, okay, fine, the fair catch happens.
Okay, just a second. Let me interrupt before you go on, because I know you're going on to something that doesn't involve what I'm about to say. I didn't like our play call on third down either. And obviously...
Well, that's where I was just about to get to.
Oh, was it? Okay, go ahead.
What? We're in sync. What a zone we're in right now. What a team. Love it.
Jim, where I was just going to ask you is, they backed up on the end zone. Did you like the play calling?
Fuck you, Paul.
I'm laughing.
How about
the timing?
Paul, have you ever heard? You know what, Paul?
Timing.
How about let
Paul,
the guy drive the show who knows what
Paul,
he's doing?
why don't you be a good teammate?
Why are you
every
telling
once
me
in a
to
while?
fuck
I mean,
off?
when you
It
were
was
back being an
freaking
All-American safety,
asking
were
the
you
question.
like, hey, I'm Paul Sorensen, I'm an All-American safety? Were you a teammate back then too?
But Paul, does he not think I'm going to ask about that play, especially where we're
I
at?
thought maybe you were moving on to Toledo or whatever.
I knew you were going to ask that question. I even knew
Lord.
that. So why is he telling me to fuck off when you were the one that was going to ask the question? Jesus.
Okay, Mr. All-American safety.
Okay.
That was 40 years ago. Relax.
What did you not like about the third down play? I mean, everybody didn't like it. So what did you not like about it?
Okay. I heard Jimmy Rogers' press conference on Monday, and it sounded like it was just a north-south play that they were trying to get enough room for the punter to have his usual 14 or 15 yards instead of punting from the 1. Okay, fine. Okay, and we know it didn't work out. To me, I'm thinking, hey, man, that yellow line's only about 14 yards away. Why don't we just have a wild hair and try and get the first down? Because whether we punt from the 4 or the 1, it doesn't really matter. As soon as they catch it, they're going to be in field goal range, basically. So what are we doing here? What are we thinking? What would be the problem with trying to go a little vertical and get the first down and keep the ball rather than punting where they're going to get the 3 points anyway? So I thought they should have called a pass. And if he'd been sacked in the end zone, I wouldn't have been as upset as I am now that you get a safety on a running play. So that's kind of where I came on that.
Because I'm sure you're like, if he would have, okay, I'll play the devil's advocate. Had he dropped back and
I'm going to interrupt you again if you're going to rip me.
Well, if he had dropped back to pass and he got sacked, you and others would be yelling, why didn't we just run the ball?
That's not necessarily true.
That's definitely true. That's absolutely what he was saying.
Of course it is.
Can I say Can I say one small thing too? And if you look at the corners, they were playing off. They were playing the sticks. Shut up. So here's the deal. So they were playing off. They were playing the sticks for the first down. Take a one-step hitch route. Okay, 4 or 5 yards. Sure. Two things would have happened. Maybe you break a tackle. possibly, and at least you're going to get 5-6 yards. You're going to give your punter a better chance. But you're exactly right, Jim. Even though you told me to fuck off, okay, I was going to give you a compliment on that. Now I'm going to take it back. So you give yourself a chance to at least punt the ball away. Your defense has been playing pretty good, other than giving up that one really long drive in the third quarter or fourth quarter where they went down the field. Your defense has been winning the football game. Give the defense a chance to win the damn game. So I agree with you. I thought it was a terrible call because they got the box back. The box is stuffed with all of their defensive players in there. Throw the ball. Throw it wide, one step, get rid of the football, give your receivers a chance. Meredith is having a great game. Put it in his hands. That's what I would have done.
He could have also, I mean, that can be on the quarterback as well. If he sees that type of formation, then he can audible out of it. I mean, it's just, I understand the thinking of it. Jim, I get your point of wanting to go for the first down. I think you very rarely ever see a team on 3rd and 15 picking up from their 1 yard line. That just doesn't happen. And that's a lot to ask for them to pick up 15 yards. Now, a little shorter pass just to get some more breathing room, but they're there because of a boneheaded play on special teams and an offensive lineman that, my God, if they had another option, I would get him in immediately. That kid committed 5 penalties in the game, I believe. Vaipulu, I believe. 3 on that drive alone. And that's stuff. It's what is the problem with them this year's been. It's not just the last 2 games, Jim. There's been several games. And they need to clean it up. They need to clean up the penalties. Penalties are killing them. And little stuff like that, they backed them up there. So they didn't need to be that backed up at the 1 yard line if they know the snap count, for God's sakes.
Well,
the offense has the advantage.
Yeah, but Hillborn's out. That's the problem. Your best offensive player, a tackle is hurt. So you've got a banged up offensive line. You got a banged up defensive line. The area you couldn't afford to get hurt in on the lines are hurt, and you're playing with backups. And there's a reason they're a backup, and there's a reason that those issues are taking place.
Hey, Paul, is your name Jim? I was setting Jim up with that.
Well, he didn't know that. He didn't want to get upset with another follow-up question, so I was trying to help him.
No, I was ready to talk. I was on deck. You were in
he was ready to go.
You were in the hole, Paul, but you decided that you were going to go straight to the plate, I guess.
I was just kind of helping you out there. I was trying to set
I just wanted to Puck was talking about like 3rd and 15 from the 1. And I get it. You don't pick that up very often. But given the situation where you're the underdog team on the road, I mean, have a fucking wild hair, man. Let's try and win this thing and not put it on the defense. It's one thing to put – and the defense had just allowed a 97-yard drive. They played well all game, though, but they were probably getting tired, so you don't want to put it in their hands. I would have liked to have seen us just go for it, man. I still, in football, one of the things I hate the most, and I know the coaches would explain to me why they do it, field position and all that. When it's 3rd and 15, why don't you throw it deep or at least past the 15-yard marker? Because you can get pass interference. You might get a completion for a first down. Or if it's a bomb and you're throwing it 40 yards, it's like a punt anyway. So I've never quite understood that. Like, even if we'd thrown a 50-yard pass from the 1, that would have been better than the punt we had. So whatever.
Paul, one thing that's come out from the game, at least it seems like a lot of fans are upset, and I'm just curious. I don't really know why in the last 2 weeks this has come to fruition. Danny Freund, a lot of people have pointed the finger at the play caller. Don't like the play calling. Do you see that? I don't. I see the last 2 weeks where they've run the ball better than they've ever run the ball before. And he gets a lot of credit for that. He had a very, that first touchdown play in Ole Miss was fantastic. I think some are, accusing him of being too conservative in the second half. I guess I didn't really see it that way, but I don't know. What did you see?
They ran for 157 yards against Ole Miss. They ran for 143 yards against Virginia. Those are 2 pretty good defenses. Now, Ole Miss had given up, their fair share. That's an SEC team and an ACC team that had given up some rushing yards as well. But I can't point a finger. You've been on the road. You're going up against top 20 teams, in hostile environments, and you have chances to win the game. You were winning the game, and then you burped the game. So no, I'm not going to point a finger at Danny. I think that they let me just put it this way. 49 points in terms of point spreads, here that they were underdogs. And I think Jim and you guys look at that and they lost by 5 total and they had chances to win both of those games. And I think if we would have taken that 2 weeks ago and bet the house on saying, hey, they're going to only lose by 5, would you have taken that? I think all 3 of us would have definitely done that with chances to win. So I think the coordinators have done great jobs to get this team ready to go. And they've been gone for a month. They finally get to come back, and play in the confines of Martin Stadium on Saturday. I think it's a respite this football team needs. So
again, the full Old Crimson podcast with myself, Paul Sorensen, former All-American safety at WSU, and Jim Moore, available on all podcast platforms right now. And it will also be up on YouTube to go watch the full 30-plus minutes, including a preview of their game coming up this week, Parents Weekend against Toledo. Well, this is a first in the history of KJ Arntz. What does this guy think he is? He thinks he's some type of big deal. He can just do it wherever he wants. Every single Thursday, KJ Arntz with Mitch Levy. And remember, as we do KJ Arntz with Mitch, host, of course, of the Mitch Unfiltered podcast, we air the entire segment during the Daily Puck Drop Live. Now, when the Daily Puck Drop Live show concludes, the only place to catch KJ Arntz is to join Puck's Posse at pucksports.com or to become a patron at mitchunfiltered.com. You think you are some type of big deal? You got to do it from your car? Huh?
Can you give me a lead-in other than the Washington State Cougars, please? I mean, this is ridiculous. This feels like the way I felt coming into the studio at 5:30 in the morning at KJR, coming in out of the Fox syndicated overnight show. Can you please discuss something that somebody's interested other than the 3 guys that are talking? Could you please give me a lead-in? I need a lead-in.
It's a perfect lead. It's a great football team. It's tough losses back to weeks.
This is like a stand-up comedian having a terrible opening act. Can you please discuss something that somebody's interested other than you 3? There's nobody listening that's interested in what you guys were talking about.
This is pretty rich coming from a guy that if you back in the day would say, hey, could you come on the show today? But I'm going to be in my fucking car driving on a video platform. Sure, no problem. Let's put them on. Come on. Look how far you've come. You've come from I've got to be on a landline to a cell phone while you're driving on the interstate.
Why don't you tell your listeners the whole story instead of being Jason Puckett and giving them just half the story, which is I offered to come on last night. I just got off a plane. I offered to come on tonight. I offered to come on tomorrow. And you chose me right out of the freaking terminal. Little did I know I would have passed, and I known you were going to spend 20 minutes talking about a football team that nobody even knows exists. You realize nobody even knows they exist.
You mean the team that has lost like 5 points to the SEC and ACC teams? Hey, first of all, it's called KJ Arntz Live during the Thursday show. It's not tape it Thursday night. And I couldn't tape it Wednesday night. I was sick. I was in the hospital. I was at an emergency room, for God's sakes.
Well, that would have been better than this.
Lord,
how's my finger get in the way?
I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm not posting this later. I'm going to tell you that right now. None of this.
Yes, you are. You're posting it.
I'm not posting any of this.
I'll tell you what. Then you don't post it. I'll post it, and I'll have the exclusive on Mitch Unfiltered.
I'm not going to send it to you. You can't send it because you need it.
That would be nice. That would not be nice. Don't do that.
Are you over the heartbreak? What stage of the pain, denial? What are you in? Grief, stages of grief.
No, I'm not. I'm not at the point where I'm like appreciating what this team did for us as Mariners fans. I'm not there. I don't know. In fact, I don't know that I'll ever get there, but I'm certainly not there now. I'm still. See, the problem with this is it's kind of like when your team gets eliminated from the NCAA tournament, although you wouldn't have any idea what that feels like. You know, you have to watch the games after. So when the World Series starts now, it's the pain doesn't go away because it's a constant reminder of how you could have been playing in the World Series and probably should have been playing in the World Series. Am I allowed to say should have? I think should have playing in the World Series is the right way to say it. Don't you think?
Well, yeah, was that not the expectation as they were the second leading favorite. They were the second favorite to make it the World Series. So of course.
I'm sorry about the bounciness of the picture. My wife is driving and it's really an adventure when she gets behind the
We're not gonna blame your wife. This is all on you. This is you.
Okay. It's a little bumpy. It's a little bumpy.
Can you just imagine? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna right when I get done with this, I'm gonna text Jimmy Shapiro. I'm gonna text Jeff Sears. I'm gonna text Hot Shot, Slick, Matt Gashk, Stretch, and be like, do you know what this MFer did today? Can you imagine him allowing a guest to come on and do what he did to me today? Unbelievable.
First of all, I'm not a guest. I'm 50% of this show. Okay. I told you last week I feel a lot like 48 or 49%, but I'm supposed to be 50% of this show. All right. That's first of all.
Yeah.
Going back to the topic at hand, the one thing that I'm having trouble letting go of. I know everybody's talking about how it should have been Munoz instead of Bizzardo and all that. The one thing that I can't quite let go of is just the way we're handling starting pitching.
Yes.
During the postseason. For 5 years, we've heard that the cornerstone of this organization and the fact that when we get into a playoff series, the great advantage that the Mariners is going to have is the depth of that young starting pitching. And yet, we're talking about not letting George fucking Kirby go out to face the 9-hitter in the bottom of the 5th inning after 65 pitches, and he's allowed 1 run over 4 innings. What is the wrong? This is absurd. The whole thing is absurd, and everybody keeps telling me, I didn't have trouble with them taking Kirby out. I didn't have trouble with them taking Kirby out. This is a guy who you're going to offer $30 million a year in a couple years, right? They're going to want to sign this guy for like $30 million a year over 6 or 7 years. And yet we've got to take him out because he can't go through the lineup the 3rd time. He's got to come out after the 4th inning because God forbid he faced the 9-1-2 hitter. God forbid he goes out there and let's just see what happens in the bottom of the 5th. Maybe he doesn't get in trouble, and maybe he pitches the 5th. And if he pitches the 5th, maybe Brian Wu pitches the 6th and the 7th instead of the 5th and the 6th. And then you don't have the issue. Then you can bring Andres Munoz in the 8th or do what you want to do in the 8th. It's not the 7th at that point. We're treating freaking George Kirby and Logan Gilbert like they're spot starters coming up from AAA. Right. That we have to get them through 4 innings and get them the hell out of there because we got to get into the – it's preposterous. I don't know why more people don't agree with me and why I don't hear more about the fact that we're treating starting pitchers like they can only get 2 times through the order. I don't understand that. I'm gonna pull old trick on you that you pull on me and others. You don't listen to the Bill Cougar Monday appearance on the Daily Puck Drop. Bill Cougar. I actually do. I didn't hear this past Monday. This has been his thing for years. Years on this. He cannot stand how they handle starting pitching, and not just from a Mariners perspective, like how a lot of teams handle it. I couldn't agree with you more. I don't understand what they're trying to do. I talked to Divish about this the day after we did, kind of our special just all Mariners show on the day after. And to me, my thing that I get frustrated with them a lot is they seem to pre-plan everything. That's right. Everything is pre-planned. That's right. There's none of this like, okay, and I've got no problem with having an outline of what they want to do or what they think they're going to do.
But once you get into the game and to your point, and you see that Kirby's pitching like this and it's like really on, and it was so perfect because the day before when I talked to Cougar about what does he want to see from Kirby, he's like, he needs to attack the top line. He needs to pitch inside. They need to bust this team with fastballs. And then that's all he did. It was just fastball central. And you see the success he had. And then, but because in the pregame, they decided that it's 4 is it for him. That's it. He's done. They
it's
make
ridiculous.
These moves, and I think
it's
it
ridiculous.
Takes,
it's so over managing.
Yeah.
It's just over managing, and it's ridiculous. I don't see. By the way, I don't see Blake Snell coming out after the 4th inning. I don't see the Dodgers guys. I don't see Tarek Skubal coming. And yet, here's a guy, and I'll say it again. I know I'm repeating myself. They're gonna want Logan Gilbert to stay. They're gonna want George Kirby to stay, and they're gonna offer him $30 million a year to stay. And yet, you won't let him pitch to the number 9 hitter in the freaking bottom of the 5th inning when they've thrown 65 pitches and they've allowed 1 run in 4 innings to the best offensive team in Major League Baseball. It makes no sense. They would never have been in the 7th inning situation had they just let their freaking starter go out for the bottom of the 5th. I'm not asking for a miracle. Just let him go out for the bottom of the 5th. It makes no sense to me. It'll never make sense to me. So what I don't know with that, because it's not. Yes,
just
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, is it DePoto or is it?
Yeah,
Wilson?
who is it? I don't know.
I don't know.
Like I don't know who is it. I mean, because it's not just one of them. They have an army of people that make these decisions, and it's not just those two, Hollander, but they've got this army of analytics guys, young guys that sit behind the scenes that give them information. And I know they take it all in. I guess ultimately at the end of the day, it's Wilson's call, but I don't know. It just feels like there are too many hands in the kitchen of making decisions like this.
Let me tell you why I choose to blame Jerry on this.
Okay.
Because I don't like him. So I'm going with Jerry on this. I like Dan. I like Dan more than I like Jerry. So I've decided in my mind it's Jerry's fault. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to have lunch right now, and if my lunch doesn't taste good, it's Jerry's fault. It's Jerry's fault.
Hey, so
you know what it dawns on me? Can I just get off the subject for just a second?
It
dawns on me as you rip me for being in a car that I watch your show all the time, and I see this guy Garafolo. Is that his name, Garafolo?
Yeah.
He's in his car every week.
He earned it.
Every single week. No, he's a guest.
He's earned it.
And I'm 50% of the show. There's a big difference about that. And I see Jim frickin' Moore on golf courses and in golf carts, and you're giving me a hard time for one time I just got off of the plane, literally got off of the plane, and I'm getting a hard time for being in the car. Go ahead. What's the next topic?
Because I like them. I like them.
Yeah, that's a Jerry response.
Yeah.
You don't like me.
I just got a text from Matt Gask, and it reads, I'll save you the text. This is outrageous.
That's the same Matt Gash who caught Schmitty from Somerville, Massachusetts, sniffing Molly Ringwald's chair.
Oh, stop. So I was watching this week's show, or listening to it. I shouldn't say watching it. And I think you guys have been pretty steadfast in this. Brady Farkas, though, who's part of your Mariners no table along with Joe Doyle, has been a real advocate for not blaming Dan Wilson. Now, Dan Wilson's come, I mean, a lot, if you ask Mariner fans, and I'd love to know what the percentage is. I mean, it seems like it feels, and maybe I put too much stock into social media, that the majority of Mariner fans do not like Dan Wilson. Think that anybody else could manage the team. He was just named, you're on the plane, but he was just named the Sporting News. I didn't know Sporting News was still around. He was just named the Sporting News AL Manager of the Year. It's voted on by the other managers. But Mariner fans don't like him. I mean, but why though? What is it? Because he's made some decisions this year that people question, but then does he not get credit for having this team one game away from reaching the World Series? Does he not get credit for them winning the American League West, or is that somebody else's responsibility?
I don't know the answer to the question, but it is a little bit of a quandary because I would think that Mariners fans are conditioned to like Dan Wilson. He's a likable guy. He played in a very good era. He gave everything he had to the organization. I always thought that he would get the benefit of the doubt when he was named manager. But I'm wrong about that because people – look, I don't know. And in this day and age of Jerry having his, hand in the cookie jar and all the analytics and all the data and all the different sabermetrics that we're talking about, it's hard to really know for me just what you asked.
Right.
I don't know how much of this is Dan, how much of it's Jerry. I don't know. Here's what I do know. They went to the 7th game of the ALCS. They've never done that before, so I suppose that they all should get some credit, but I'm not giving any credit to Jerry because I don't like him. I'm not going to do it.
All right,
sure
can we
he
talk?
doesn't like me. Yeah.
Can we talk about Josh Naylor now? Finally, about re-signing him.
Oh God, that guy's good.
Oh, it's so good.
He's so good.
How about breaking up the double play? I mean, he knows what he's doing, but God, I just love the effort. I just love the thought behind it, and why not? Why not?
Why didn't anybody? Am I just the oldest guy in the world? Why didn't anybody reference the Reggie Jackson play in the World Series or the American League Championship Series years and years ago when he stuck his hip out? Do you remember that?
What,
Nobody seems
81-ish?
I don't know what year it was, but I remember vividly as a kid watching the Yankees in the ALCS or in the World Series, and on a double play ball, the ball was thrown. He was in the middle of the base path, and he literally moved his hip into the ball to deflect the ball.
Yeah.
But nobody mentioned that. I love Josh Naylor. Yes, you can have the conversation now.
Yeah.
And I think your question really hits the core of why we all are heartbroken, which is if we had faith that the ownership is going to do what it needs to do to get them back, we would be able to get over this a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if we were fans of the Dodgers or we were fans of the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Astros or whatever, one of these teams that seems to always get themselves into this position, it would feel different. But I think all of us out there in Mariner land are saying to ourselves, God, we choked, we blew it, bad managerial decision, and now we're going to have to wait 25 more years to get back to the same situation because they're not going to sign Josh Naylor, and they're not going to sign the right guys, and they're not going to get the pitcher. I don't know. When I start hearing about these heavy negotiations with Logan Gilbert and George Kirby, I'm gonna immediately say, but they're not good enough to pitch in the bottom of the 5th of the freaking American League Championship Series, right?
Yeah, I think what you said there is because I know some of the reaction from these people I was around, like, oh, you know what, it was a great season. They're one game away. They'll be back next year. And I'm like,
right.
It's baseball. It's postseasons are tricky. And there's no guarantees. I mean, this team could be vastly different next season. It could not have Naylor. It could not have Polanco. It most likely will not have Suarez. I mean, there's just so many changes this team could have. And then I think to the core of what you brought up is this ownership group, and maybe they've changed their stance. Are they willing to understand what it takes to go win one of these things?
Oh, are they willing to understand? They understand.
Yeah. Are they willing to do it?
Right.
To do it.
That's the question. And I think what we all would love to know, every one of us, I don't think we're allowed to know. I want to know how much revenue was produced by the divisional series and the American League Championship Series. I want to know how much extra revenue was generated by that ownership that we should expect them to be able to spend during the offseason. I don't think we'll ever know that.
Next week, do you want to come on and be a special guest on Old Crimson? We're going to break down the Toledo Rockets game.
I have one request. Don't do it on Thursday at 10:30, please.
It's normally not on Thursdays. I had to move.
It's terrible. It's just not a good. I mean, those guys are great. By the way, Jim Moore, Sorensen, Sorensen reminds me when I look at him, not the way he sounds, but you remember Peter Alice?
Yeah. He's turned into Peter Alice. The hair, the weight.
He looks a little like
thing.
Peter Alice. I love Moore. I love Sorensen. But I can't imagine that segment does us any good on the KJ Arts. I got to believe we're talking to the same amount of people as the Seahawks pregame show was talking to on Monday night. Okay.
God, I barely watched any of the Seahawks game. It was unbelievable. Barely.
Well,
barely.
It's time to shift your attention because I got a funny feeling. This might be good.
Yeah.
We might be in good shape with the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about them too. Yeah, they're playing good. Yeah. All right, go enjoy lunch. Thank you for doing it. Appreciate it.
How do everything okay? Can I do it from the car next week or no?
Yeah, I only want you from the car from now on.
Okay.
See you, Mitch. There he is, Mitch Levy, another edition of KJ Arns with Mitch Levy, host of the Mitch Unfiltered podcast. And again, our weekly show airs in its entirety during the live daily puck drop. But once the live show is over, you must sign up to become a Pucks Posse member to listen to the full show at pucksports.com. Yeah, I think there's, I think what Mitch brought up there is, I think a lot of Mariner fans that feel that same way, right? Are they willing? Is ownership, front office willing to go that next step to ensure that they're back in this position, a year from now? We'll see. They've never been that type of group that's been able to do that, sustain something like this. I mean, how many, off the top of my head, I'm just trying to think now. Is it 2000, 2001? I mean, they haven't been in the postseason a lot. 2000, 2001, the last time they went back-to-back, right? Yeah, I think so. I mean, just think about that. I mean, that's rough. I mean, that's a rough existence. So, I don't know. Are they willing to go and do that and be able to maintain the momentum they have now for next season? Which then leads us into, as we wrap it up, Hey, What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. Your restoration company lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services, locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when these damages affect your residential or commercial property, 206-817-8917. Visit them at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Priority number one, and it's obvious, we talked about it there, is to bring back Josh Naylor. And then I think beyond bringing back Josh Naylor is, how do we make this team longer? How do we give it more depth? And maybe the making it longer and more depth is the youth movement that's coming. Fine, but they can't wait for those guys to be ready. Colt Emerson, even if he were to break in next season, it's not going to be great right away. I mean, we've seen some of the younger guys that they've brought up. They haven't been able to stick right away. I mean, had Cole Young been what we thought Cole Young was going to be, Cole Young starting at second baseman, you don't have Leo Rivas, and Polanco's your starting DH. But he struggled, like all young players do. Ben Williamson struggled. So I don't know what to expect from Colt Emerson. I'm certainly not going to go into next season thinking he's going to be their starting third baseman. He's certainly not going to be their starting shortstop. I mean, I highly doubt that. The JP's there for another year, but they need to make it longer to when they have to or when they can go to their bench, that they've got guys on their bench that put a little fear in you, that have a track record. That was the problem in this series. 1 through 9, Toronto was just better and deeper and a better approach. And I think that's the one thing that gets lost in all the excitement and the great fun that this year was, is they still did not play the level of baseball from an offensive standpoint that they've been talking about. They relied again on the home run. 2-run, 3-run home run. That was their calling card all year. And they still have yet to put together, despite all these offensive changes with Edgar Martinez and Kevin Seitzer and everyone, and players that they've acquired, they've yet to put together this inning or innings where they rally a single walk double. They just keep the line moving, where every at-bat is a hard at-bat, where you're making the pitcher work. And that's what stood out against Toronto. And especially, their guys at the bottom of the order, nothing was easy against Toronto. And I think the way that Toronto approached their hitting and their offense is the what Seattle wants to be and what Seattle has talked about for so long, but they're not that. And I don't know if they've got necessarily the players that perform like that. Josh Naylor is. Cal's not. Cal's not going to be that guy. But not everyone's got to be that. But Cal's going to be what he is going to be. He's going to be a guy that's going to strike out, but he's going to hit he's going to hit for power, and that's okay. But a more patient, deliberate, making pitchers work approach, I think far too many times in that series against Toronto, it was just too easy to get them out. All right, that's What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration One in North Seattle, your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage. Their property restoration services, locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them at restoration1.com, North Seattle franchise. All right, thank you for everyone watching and listening today. Sorry we weren't there yesterday. Still getting over the sickness. We'll be back tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Big thanks to all our sponsors: Limback Lumber, John Howie Steak, Zogs on Fox Island, Hartley and Hartley Insurance, Georgetown Brewery, and, of course, Restoration One. Today's Daily Puck Drop, find it up on YouTube. When you're there, please subscribe and like the channel. Also, find the Daily Puck Drop on your favorite podcast platforms and at pucksports.com. When you're there, please sign up to become a member of the Pucks Posse. $5 a month. You support all the free content we do. In addition, bonus shows like our baseball coverage, Ryan Divish. We got the Sports Pit with Steve Sandmeyer, Matt Stretch Johnson. Another edition coming out soon. We got KJ Arts with Mitch Levy. And, of course, now every Monday we produce the Graz with Gas Take 5 podcast, which you can find wherever you get your podcast and up on YouTube. Find everything, as always, up at pucksports.com. That is a Thursday edition for us. Coming up tomorrow, Friday's show will include a visit with Chris Egan. We've got our handicapper, Troy Wins. We got Todd Millis, Friday Night Lights, previewing all high school football action on Friday night. And the last word with Bob Condotta of the Seattle Times. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, promise to be better.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!